So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter, the Candle Man. There is his website for his candle company that he did launch on the Demetra K show. So I'd like to say hello to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation. I should also say that Walter is our resident financial guru, if you will. He has worked with a whole host of people, and he is very knowledgeable. And so today we are going to cover some trending topics, if you will. And we're also going to give you an opportunity to ask some questions in regards to money or, whatever it is, financial. And also to say that we are not licensed in any way, shape, or form. So the advice that we're going to give you is something that we would do. Okay. Not necessarily saying you should do it, but what we would do. All right. And also the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even. So today we're going to talk about, I actually saw this clip right before I came on here not too long ago. It's a clip of Kevin Hart. Of course, you guys know who he is. I see you all in the comment section giving your opinion before y'all even know what we're going to talk about, but I get it. So he was on Grant Cardone's show, I guess, podcast, whatever it is. Grant Cardone is a financial giant himself, among a whole host of other things. And so Kevin Hart made the statement on the show. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the governmental shutdown that is impending on October 1st. I'm going to show a clip that I also saw on Twitter of a Black woman lamenting about what that would mean for her as she works at the Library of Congress. So let's see who came on here before we get into it, and I'll give it to Walter. Tanya, how you doing? If they're shaking my head, what is he talking about? I'm about to cancel all these celebs except Denzel, Mary J. Blige, and Shamar Moore. Just saying. Inez, how you doing? Says he probably refers to himself. And M, how you doing? Says, and he and others like him are a reason why so-called celebrity new is garbage. He also said we're in a war with hellions and ain't got time for BS. Let's see here. Alvin, how you doing? Said it was a joke, right? No, it wasn't a joke. Anne Marie, how you doing? Says Kevin Hart has never been funny to me. All right. Black America, how you doing? I saw you come on. I was like, ooh, let me hurry up and start the show before he says something. Rosalind, how you doing? Says I haven't liked Kevin Hart since he laughed at the hot tub girl whose hair caught on fire. Ooh, I never knew nothing about that. Donna Black, how you doing? And King of Sorrows, what's going on with you? And LL, what's going on with you? And Troy. Okay, so Walter, what do you have to say before we get started?
Well, these are some good videos. These are my topics, so I'm gonna have some fun today. Kevin Hart, I don't care how funny you are, but he's a rich dude and he's extremely successful. And he made some really good points. We can go into it more detail later, but he made some really good points. But unfortunately, when you tell Black people what's up and it's a Black man saying it, they ain't gonna receive it. Number one, two, this other video, which I'm sure we'll have some fun with. The ladies worked the job 42 years. You tell me they're going to shut down and you can't pay your bills. That's your fault. Zero sympathy from over here. So that's the premise of where I'm coming from today.
Dang, right out the gate, huh?
In the show right now, checkmate.
Right. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with the Kevin Hart video. So again, he was on Grant Cardone's show. Grant Cardone is very wealthy. And so is Kevin Hart. And I guess they were talking about a whole host of topics, and this was one of them. So I am going to show y'all. Hello, Abdul. How you doing? Okay, I think this is it. All right, here we go.
Stores and check cashing places. You know why? Because they know that the people in the hood aren't smart enough to open up bank accounts. They're going to get a check, they're going to cash it, and it's a liquor store right next to it. Let's just put that around them. Let's also put a bunch of shit that's easy and cash available. We don't want you to gain credit. We want you to be cash driven. That's how we keep the poor poor. It's not until you understand that you get out.
Okay, I want to play that one more time just so we can, understand basically what he said. So let's do it one more time.
You look in the hood, there's liquor stores and check cashing places. You know why? Because they know that the people in the hood aren't smart enough to open up bank accounts. They're going to get a check, they're going to cash it, and it's a liquor store right next to it. Let's just put that around them. Let's also put a bunch of shit that's easy and cash available. We don't want you to gain credit. We want you to be cash driven. That's how we keep the poor poor. It's not until you understand that you get out.
All right. So y'all heard it twice. Remove Kevin. So you basically heard him say, and then this is not a secret to us. We talk about this all the time. Some of the things that are in our neighborhoods, the liquor stores, the check cashing places. But he was basically saying that, I'm paraphrasing. I guess we're not smart enough. And when I say we, talk about the hood, not smart enough to have a bank account. And that's why a lot of people go to the liquor stores or something like that to cash a check. Of course, you cash a check at a liquor store or cash a check at a check cashing place. They're going to take a fee. I think it used to be like 2 to 3% or something like that, which is a lot of money off of any type of paycheck that you may have. But I think maybe some people will take issue. And I've seen some people take issue with him saying that people in the hood are not smart enough to have a bank account. Of course, we know there's a whole host of reasons why people don't have a bank account, but he's specifically speaking of people in the hood. So let me see who else came on here before I give it to Walter, because I already know. King of Sorrows, if I didn't already, how you doing? He says Walter's that shirt is fly. It's Walter's clothing line, Verbal Herb. One of his other businesses that he has. And Simone, how you doing, Queen? Says you don't gain credit at a bank. That is very true. Bank Horse says DC here. And how you doing? And Simone says it's not all the way wrong, but you can't break that down in a minute. That is very true. And Abdul says I would even give Kevin Hart I think you may give Kevin Hart the time of day. He works for them folks, and if he's trying to put on a dress and some heels, that's what he's going to do, so we can so he can win another Oscar. I think you're trying to say. Hello, brother Reggie. How you doing? And Rosalind, you say I don't think it's a matter of being smart as much as it's about being ignorant, coupled with needing instant gratification. Interesting point. Jean Michael, how you doing? Greetings to you as well. Buckhorse, she says you are hip hop. All right, me too. Pretty much. Big Rich, how you doing? Long time no see. Says I live in a major city and it's only a handful of banks in the city. The only place you can cash them is at a check cashing or liquor store. Got you. And Soto, how you doing? Says I get it, but if you're taking that personal, then he's talking about you. All right. Yes, if y'all could hit the like button, I love it. Appreciate you. All right, Walter, you're up. Be easy. Be easy.
Everybody swing low, sweet chariot. Listen. Kevin Hart is what I've seen Kevin Hart like 4 times in the last 10 years on TV. I don't really watch a lot of movies or buffoonery television. I see more of him on the Capital One commercials. I'm starting to see him more on social media talking about like this stuff. You guys have to remember there's Kevin Hart, the actor. Somebody mentioned putting on a dress. I don't know if that's a prerequisite for Black or people in Showtime, from Flip Wilson to Jamie Foxx and Lord have mercy, Medea. It seems like Tyler Perry got a pass. That's actually funny. But there's him, the actor. Like some of us go to work and do stuff we don't feel like doing. And you know how I feel about men in a dress. So I'm not with that. But we have to carve out what he's doing as an actor, because he's doing what he got to do. Maybe he don't have to do the dress no more. I hope he's not there. But there's also the businessman. I know Jay-Z went through this too. There's Jay-Z, the drug dealer, the rapper, Beyonce's man. And then there's Jay-Z, the businessman, who is building his billions of dollars and building these wealth. And sooner or later, we have to start attaching to the business side of it. Right? Because if you really look at your bosses at work and you don't like them either, but you still go get the check. So we need to take his advice. It is true when you go to, and I don't know why the hood means Black people. I wish there's got to be a way we can separate that. Because when I hear even my friends and people say, oh, the hood, I kind of know they're talking about Black people. I be wanting to slap the shit out of them. But I don't know if that's something that we created, that the hood, this is our hood, but we need to separate black from the hood, right? But since we're on the subject, he's talking about black people, and we should be asking ourselves, black people, why don't you have bank accounts? Why don't you have credit cards? I understand you can have the worst credit in the world, but in 2 to 3 years, you can build your credit and you can have credit cards. Like I'll give you an example. If you're the type of person that spends $2,000 a month on living, food, gas, supplies, whatever, putting that on a credit card that gives you 3% is $60 a month. That is $700 a year. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you're the type, look at it this way. If you're the type of person to spend $3,000 to live, because you can put almost everything on a credit card, at a 3% cash back, that is almost $100 a month. What is it, like 90? Let's call it 90. Let's call it 100 to round it up. That 100, if you did that for 30 years and you just took that $100 cash back, invested it in the stock market, in 30 years, you'd have $350,000. So this lady from the next video wouldn't be sitting here hemming and hawing, sweet lowing. It's the government's fault that if they shut down, she's going to be without money. You're a fool if you work somewhere that long, you have no money saved. You have stability, security. You go there and your job is safe, and all of a sudden they shut down and you don't have any money saved. You don't need to be on TV bitching and whining.
But let me ask you this, because I don't want you to get too far ahead with the other video.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you ain't even showed it yet.
You're right. What are some reasons why one would not have a bank account?
Check systems that wrote bad checks in the past. I don't know. I hear people saying, like, I don't want a bank account. I don't trust the banks. But you don't trust the banks, but you don't have the money anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't trust banks, so I just spend it on crack, or I spend it on weed or cars and truck jewelry. Like, put the money in the bank. One, those check cashing fees have to be. And in my early years, I've been to a couple check cashing places. Man, they charge you 3, 4, 5. Some of these places charge 10%. I had a lady buy a car from me. Her and her wife came in here, they bought a car, and she had to go cash her check. It was a $10,000 check. She came back with $900. I was like, for that kind of money, I'd have loaned you the $10,000. It's insane, and it happens all the darn time. So that is our fault. You don't have a bank account, you got to get one. And even for some of the crappy banks like Chime, and it is a shitty bank. There's even Cash App, Venmo. Some of these guys are starting to come up with some of their own things. E-Trade has a bank. You can even walk into some E-Trade establishments on some of the coast. So everyone should have some sort of bank account. That's just Neanderthal these days, not to have a bank account unless there's something blocking you from doing it, like check systems or you made a mistake. And then you got to build your credit. You guys, right now we're going to this digital dollar. You see what's going on right now with all these stores closing. The interest rates are almost at 8% to buy a house. Food is up. Gas is up $7 to $7 in California. You guys, you're going to need some sort of leverage credit to even be able to float yourself sometimes. So, and besides, you guys, the world is going digital. Like, there are places right now that don't even take cash. They don't take it. One, they don't feel like getting robbed. Two, it costs too much money for them to handle cash. They got to pay a transporter, a truck, security service. They got to pay, the armed guards. They got to pay all these people. They'd rather just deal with credit cards. And besides, when you use a credit card over a debit card, if you get your credit card gets, somebody gets your information, they hit your credit card, the credit card company will give you the money back. If your debit card gets hit, they may give it back. It may take time. But at least with the debit card, you can pay your bills versus on a credit card. Yeah, with the credit card, if they hit you, you still have the money in your bank. So there's several reasons to have a credit card. And let's not get caught up. Let's not shoot the messenger here. I'm not a huge fan of everything Kevin Hart does, but the brother is on point. And he's talking to a dude who's on point. I don't agree with everything Grant Cardone says, but that dude is... him and Kevin Hart financially are making moves. Kevin Hart has so many businesses, from Heart to Heart, you name it. The dude, we
Let
can
me chime in here for a second. Donna, check your Facebook, Donna. I'm gonna bring on another financial expert. Donna, check your Facebook Messenger. I sent you a link. Let me chime in for a second. Let me know if you get it, Donna.
That's my CEO right there.
All right, and Walter, if maybe if you can send it to her. Okay, so let me get in the comment section for just a second, because
You asking me to do that? Good luck.
no, she got it. I can see she got it. Okay, so let's see here. Somebody says, "Who are you?" And hello to everybody that's on here. Today is Wealth Wednesdays. We talk about money, how to make it, how to keep it, and everything else in between. So Walter is our financial resident, whatever expert, I guess was what I'm trying to say. Walter has been in the financial services industry for over 30 years. He's worked with celebrities to everyday people and everybody else you can think of. Okay, so if anybody knows about finances, it's probably going to be Walter. So that's who he is. Also, let me get down to these other comments as well. Lady Blue, how you doing? It says every hood isn't the same. Some hoods have banks and some people in the hood have accounts. His statement isn't accurate. Okay, so we're going to get into all that in just a second. Hi, Nicole. How you doing? Let's see here. Soder says you can gain money with short selling is riskier, but you can make money. That's what your job is paying you for. The stock market isn't hard. It isn't easy. It's a lot to consider when investing. Yes, it is. Okay, so Daryl, how you doing there? Once again, he says Walter is caping for the elite. I want to say this. What we need to, I meant to say this earlier, and I think I'm gonna have to keep saying this. First of all, I love you all very much, very dearly from the bottom of my heart. But I'm gonna impress upon everybody, including myself and everybody in the comment section on the panel, to rise to logic and get rid of emotion. Because sometimes we got to be able to have a conversation without finger pointing and calling names and this, that, and the other. Yes, a lot of people don't like Kevin Hart for whatever reason. That's your business. But he made a statement that deserves I think, a conversation. And Kevin Hart is not the first person that has said something like that. There's a whole host of people who have said it. Yeah, y'all don't like the messenger. That's fine. But let's at least be able to have an intelligent conversation, because the last thing I want to do is continue to stop having these conversations about things that are coming from emotions. Let's be logical here, okay? Because first we want to answer the question, is it true? If it's true, let's figure out how to fix it. That's what we're here for, right? So if y'all could, please and thank you. I love and appreciate you. All right, so let me see here.
Yeah, and by the way, we are elite. The whole purpose of me sitting my black ass right here and we being on here is to become elite, to become great, 100%. Hell yeah, I'm an elitist. Everybody should be elite. You understand elite means to be great, to be good, to be better. Like, that's the whole point of, that's why you send your kids to school, to become elite, to become great. Elite means that you are doing something well. Like, black people, please stop with that elitist. It's not a racial term. It means you are doing better. You want to improve your situation. My God, we're talking about having a bank account and a credit card. That makes you an elitist? Lord have mercy.
Yeah, so I get it from the point of view, and elitist can be too looking down on someone. But my father always said, don't buy the bull cocker that we're all the same, because there are other people on this planet that are better than some people, okay? Like, we are better than a whole lot of people running around this earth. So let's not go there. But again, I would impress upon y'all, let's, keep it here and not so much here. How you doing, Miss Black? Oh, I'm sorry, I muted you.
Hello, Demetra. Hello, Walter.
How you doing?
Good. Stop. I didn't want to type. I don't think my typing could keep up with the chat. So I wanted to kind of chime in on a couple of things, because one of the questions was, why don't some people have bank accounts? And like Walter, I was in the financial service industry. I actually worked for a large bank in the Southeast for a period of time. And one thing that I discovered, usually in urban areas, you don't have a lot of banks. What you'll find are check cashing places. And what most people don't know is those check cashing places are usually owned by major banks. It's one of the ways they're able to make money. Now, the biggest misconception is that, Black people don't like banks. I'm going to speak for Black people. Black people don't like banks. And some of them don't trust it, but there's a large percentage of them that if they have access to it, they will bank with a bank. And I have a really good example because for anyone who's out in Florida that's tuning in, you might be familiar with in the Orlando area, Pine Hills. I'm not going to call out the name of the bank, but Pine Hills is one of those areas where a lot of people look like us live there. And this bank I worked for had a branch there. And one day I was talking with someone that worked at the branch, and they were telling me, I'm like, you have to work on Saturdays, you must hate this. And somehow we got to the fact that that bank in Pine Hills, Florida, brought in more revenue than the majority of the banks in the surrounding area.
Wow.
He said people would come in with like, it looked like they pulled money out their mattress and they brought it into the bank. Now, that was an area too where there were a lot of Black-owned businesses. And so they, they would bring their money in for their business as well and stuff like that. But I don't believe that the majority of people, when they do get access to funds, they're going to blow it. I think what happens is because of circumstances and systematic racism that takes place here, is that they're not afforded the opportunity to put their money in a bank and leverage that. Because when you have a banking relationship, here's what's important about having a banking relationship. When you have a banking relationship, you're able to open yourself up for credit. It's all relationship. So the bank is like, you're willing to put your money here with us, we'll give you a credit card here. You're willing to put your money here with us, we'll finance a small business loan for you. You're willing to put your money here with us, we'll give you a mortgage. It's all relationship based. So if you have a checking or savings account, you have a small IRA or a small account there, a custodial account, they look at the relationship you have and they make those decisions based off of relationship. When you don't have banks in your area, you're not able to establish a relationship. So when you're trying to get a small business loan, when you're trying to get a mortgage, when you're trying to buy a car and get financing, the bank is like, hold up a second, we don't know you. Who are you? So it keeps people in that rut of that cycle of not being able to take advantage of leveraging credit and keeping their money saved. And they end up in these check cashing places, which is complete usury because they're charging them like 23, 24, 28, 29%.
Ooh.
That is usury.
I thought it was like 2 to 3%.
No. When you see check cashing places, when you see payday loans and all of that, it's all a sliding scale. The more money you're trying to get out, the more money they're going to hit you with.
Jeez, yeah. Because I know too about those checking the cash places. Now those places are really predatory. I mean, it's like, and then they like you might only need $200. And they're like, no, you got to take $1,500, or something like that. And then because I used to be a personal banker too, and I cannot tell you the amount of people that would come in there and be like, can you stop them from taking the money out of my account? And then they would just be, overdrafted. And I'm like, no, the bank cannot close the account until you bring it to a zero balance. Yeah. And they just keep tagging them. And it's just, it's crazy. It should be illegal, but it's not.
So that I just wanted to chime in and kind of answer that because most people don't understand that dynamic. Now, I talk about liquor stores. Liquor stores, if I could get a liquor license, I would open up a liquor store because that's a recession-proof business, but that's a subject for another day.
You ain't lying.
But yeah.
Yeah, and you can stay up here, Donna, if you like, because I learned a lot from you. Like when you said it's nice to give waitresses and waiters cash for a tip instead of the credit card, because I did not know. I didn't know that if you put it on, tip them on the credit card, they don't get it until payday, which could be a week or two, but then they get the money, the cash right away. So that's what I try to do from now on. That was very helpful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Walter, are you reading the comments? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments. I mean, I try not to get too caught up with the comments. Most people got some sense. But you guys, listen, it's time. I see capitalism and all these things. You guys, black people, here is the problem. Well, first of all, you need to read The Color of Money. That's a good book.
Yeah.
Read that book, and half these comments will disappear. You guys keep talking about capitalism is the best thing that's happened to the African American, because we were slaves and all the stuff we went through. And even through all that crap, you have Madam C.J. Walker and all these people that all invented all these things that made millions were able to go out and help black people rise up from Black Wall Street, regardless of what happened to it. All the money that black people have that we don't have in other countries. If it was not for capitalism, there's no Madam C.J. Walker. There's no all these African American leaders and business people that grabbed their bootstraps from slavery and built wealth. Take away capitalism, they don't have that. Capitalism, like blaming capitalism for you being poor is like blaming the spoon for Rosie O'Donnell being fat. The two have nothing to do with each other. Stop blaming the spoon. Period. If you took capitalism away, most of you guys would be living in huts, in street, and so would every half the other Americans would be in a soup kitchen, like in Russia or in some of these places where capitalism doesn't really exist. They stand in line for food and vodka and bread. That's what happens when you take away capitalism. And capitalism allows you to be the brokest person on earth to get $50 together and go buy some M&Ms at Costco and go turn it into $250 the next day and do it again. And in 2 weeks, you got $1,000. That is capitalism. And when you understand that, stop using that as an excuse. Just like Bugs Bunny said, if you can't beat them, join them. Just get with it. I swear your life will improve, because black people, we need to stop needing permission to keep it real. Like in the book, The Color of Money, she says the reason why black banks struggle is because black people want discounts and they want the hookup and they want the Jesus account, the free account. The Lord says you should help my people. That's one of the reasons black banks do not exist. We need to cut this crap out. I'm just saying.
And also, with black banks aren't any different than a lot of black businesses. If we're gonna keep it a buck. We do want the hookup a lot, or we think the white man's ice is colder than ours. How many of us have a white-owned bank account opposed to a black-owned? I actually have both. I have money going to Union, One United Bank. I'm not near it. It's in Los Angeles, but I do it online or whatever. So I do have some money going there. But I have a white bank too. I have, Chase or what have you. But there's a lot of us who won't put our money in a black bank. We just won't. So the more money they have in their bank, just like the white banks, then the more they can do for us, right? I would imagine. But yeah, we some of that is on us as well. So she's absolutely right.
Yeah. You guys, there's so much going on right now. I tell you, there's so much opportunity if we can just get out of our feelings. Like right now, one of my buddies, it's funny, I have one of my white friends that actually watches this.
Hold on a second. Let me second. CB, how you doing? He says, we need $1 to fight back. That's disrespectful. I'm going to open the link in just a minute, but I want to know, how is that disrespectful? Because I think it's, I don't even know if it's wishful thinking, or maybe it's just delusional to think that you're going to do anything on this planet without money. Even God in the Bible, for those y'all followers, says money answers all things. And so you can't even go to church without being asked for some money. And if you do that too long, they're going to probably want to have a conversation with you, And some people go to church all their life and they die. And then they'll say, okay, well, let's see how much Sister So-and-so tithed her whole time. Oh, you know what? We're going to have to ask y'all to pay. We can't do it for free. She wasn't a faithful tither.
And I'm gonna add to that, because, I'm Jamaican, so I've had a lot of jobs in my lifetime. I was on the finance board of a church. And when it came time, when people came in and they needed money for something, that is the first thing that they do. They look at your giving history. Are you a consistent giver? Are you a consistent tither? Or are you just showing up to get a handout? So there's a lot of truth to that statement.
Yeah, and then I listen, and I'm gonna say this to y'all, CB. I know you're a little bit on the emotional side, but I'm gonna ask you to stop calling names. If not, I'm gonna have to remove you. You should. I think you're big, old enough and grown enough to have a conversation without calling names. But if you can't do that, then I'll help you out if you need me to. But here, y'all might be able to go on other people's platforms and call each other names and all that. But over here, I'm asking you to rise to a higher consciousness because we don't learn when we're calling names. And also, exercise a little bit of emotional intelligence, control your emotions. I don't agree with everything people are saying, but I don't sit up and call them names either. And to me, I hear when somebody, what I see is somebody in the sandbox. You're stupid. Just like, you know what I'm saying? To say, okay, I don't like what he's saying, but let me sit back or whatever. I saw somebody say, I can't take it, I'm leaving. And that's what you should do. If you don't like what's being said, you should leave. But I should also say there's a lot of people who are on this, who watch this show, who have learned a lot of things and have actually changed their financial life. So if this does not apply to you, they come back when we are talking about something that does. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not gonna say it again. But I love you though. All right. So let's see here. Lady Blue, I know you're not in your feelings. I know you listening. That they know who I'm talking about. And Urban Bank, how you doing? By the way, he says they also need to teach banking in school. Will be required to know how to open savings and checking account before you graduate. I had my first account at 18 years. Current account 27. Yeah. And I know Walter Nye. If you guys did not know, that is my brother. Shoot, we had an account. Y'all remember Crocker Bank? I don't know if that was a California thing, but it was Crocker Bank. And what is it now, Walter? What did it become?
Oh my God, who knows? The bank went from
Bank
Security
or something?
to B of A. They changed it.
Yeah, that's old, like old. That's how long it has been since we had an account, and my mother opened that account when we were kids. So that's how long the longest I can remember. Having a bank account, probably 5, 6, 7, something like that. So,
well, and the Muslims, they taught that. They would preach finance, do for self, grow your food. So it's funny that decades later, we're still having the same damn conversation. I mean, I could Google Farrakhan right now, and the first thing out of his mouth or something like it's going to be do for self, like take care of you. And Farrakhan lives in a beautiful integrated neighborhood. That take capitalism to be on his street. It takes capitalism to make those bean pies and keep those sisters dressed as that white. Somebody got to pay the cleaner to keep them looking that fresh.
And you're right. That is capitalism. Do for self. Circulate the dollar amongst like-minded people, or with people who want what you have. And CB says Haiti did it without money. What do they do without money?
What do they do? I wondered. Yeah, I'm curious.
As we know, there's a whole bunch of nations going over to Haiti, including Kenya. I just learned that today from Brother Phil. Kenya's going over there to help them get rid of their gang problem, and in addition to a whole host of other countries. I think the United States said they're going to send 50 troops, even though they need to be sending more because it's partially why Haiti is the way it's in. But what are they doing without money? You got people coming over here as we speak, away from broke Haiti, for whether it's natural disasters, whether it's something the United States have done. So what are they doing without money? Because over here, we on top of things over here. So what is Haiti doing without money?
My friend, Dan, Charlie is from Haiti. His parents, his mom sent him over here as a boy and did not see him for years to get away from Haiti to come over here and get that American dream. And then he built that American dream. He went over and got his mama. Haiti, listen, you guys, let's leave those countries out of it. Haiti, they have a hurricane. We the first people they call.
Mm-hmm.
Period. It just, without money and resources. And the funny part is they have resources. They do, but they don't. I don't know what's going on with it. But we might need to put some capitalism in place in some of these countries. But the problem is the government runs it into the ground. If you guys really want to have some beef, go after your politicians. Go after these people that are, probably have these political dinners and they spending $1,000 a plate. Do you guys realize for the like people in Congress, Secretary of State, and some of these guys, their vehicles stay running 24 hours a day? Even the county, I was at an airport and they leave their county vehicles running all day. All day. That is money that could be used to the people. So those are the people you should be going after. Not somebody like Kevin Hart that's like, hey, black people, save some money. Period. If like that makes him an elitist, I don't know what to tell you. You guys, it's about to get shitty. Even I was saying, one of my friends, one of my white boyfriends that watches this show, actually, which is funny. I have two of my white boyfriends who watch this show, and they be pulling advice from it and going out like, Walter, I heard what you and your sister said. What about this? And they watching the show. You understand what I'm saying? So like, we could all learn from the little tidbits that we throw on the show. And like Kevin Hart saying, talking about getting a credit card, just get one. You don't gotta like them. I don't like George Washington or Benjamin Franklin. I like their pictures. You know? Yeah, I like Benjamin Franklin. I like opening my wallet and seeing his face. He's my favorite white man, Benjamin Franklin. So, you know, and at the end of the day, for most of us, it really is about the money. Because if everybody on here was loaded and had money saved, this conversation would be different. Because you'd have something to lose. I guarantee you.
And I want to say this too. I see you guys, you know, debating whether Kevin Hart, you should go to his movies or not. I'm not a huge Kevin Hart fan either. And I've never mentioned that one time on the show because it's not relevant to what we're talking about. Sometimes we need to be able to hear what somebody is saying, even if we don't like them much. Is what they're saying pertinent? Is it helpful? Is it something we need to ponder? Like, I wish that we would just get used to saying, well, you know, I don't really like them much, but that's interesting what they say. Like that's when you're grown, right? That's when you know you've evolved. I can separate the two for just a moment, but y'all gonna keep having a conversation about his movies you don't go to. He's not funny. It's like
I think that's the biggest mistake, is to tie the message and the messenger as one. So, you know, and sometimes it's a great message and the messenger isn't so great, but you have to learn how to separate the two, you know.
Yeah, and I get it. Sometimes people are problematic and you don't want to hear nothing they got to say. But sometimes, like, I hear people that I don't agree or I don't like as a person, but they'll say something, I'm like, well, they do got a point. You know what I mean? But as I said, that's when you know that you really evolved, when you can get out of your emotions enough to say, at least be able to say, well, a broke clock is right at least twice. You know what I mean? That's evolution. But when you are, I can't, then you get stuck. Like Donovan and I, we have this saying. He says he's black or white. He's either the black or white. I say, and that's fine. That's your personal choice. I said, I love the gray area because that's where the learning is. Mm-hmm. That's where you get the new information outside of what you think or what you believe. That's when you can at least say, well, let me think about that. I never thought about it or I never heard it. So at some point in time, especially as black people, we got to get out of the low-hanging fruit. Y'all notice on the show, I don't do a whole lot of gossipy stuff and, you know, salacious stuff because I don't want to build a platform off of that because I believe that it's low frequency. Here, I'm trying to raise the frequency, which is why I have somebody like Donna on here who is got a resume that can run circles around all of us, which is why I have Walter on here. Because Walter has been in the game for a very long time. These two people, they're making a lot of money, including starting and getting a candle company off the ground. You know, they got other stuff they could be doing, but we're going to sit on here. That to me, that's disrespectful when you have people who, and I know Donna and Walter get paid a lot of money for what they do. I know for a fact that they do, but they're here for free. But it's disrespectful when we say, you know, we get on here and call people names and all this other stuff. I mean, and then that's the other thing too, the literacy as far as finances in our community, that's kind of where it is. Because I know a whole lot of content creators, they would love to bring people on talk about money, but they said, I ain't going to do it. You know why they said they ain't going to do it? And I'm going to keep it real with you. They said because they ain't going to listen. They don't want that kind of content. They don't want to listen to it. So a lot of content creators, especially here on YouTube, they get paid. And so what they'll do is they'll lower the frequency. I'm telling you, I know this. This I know for a fact. Mm-hmm. They'll lower the frequency, then lower, and then y'all notice. If y'all don't believe me, go on YouTube and look at some of the low frequency content, and it got hundreds, sometimes thousands of views, because they know the lower I lower the frequency for Black folks, the more they're going to chime in, the more they're going to listen. But if we raise the frequency, the views go down, because unfortunately, something like this, it's just not sexy enough. And I don't know what else to say.
Well, it's not only is it not sexy, I think what it does is it puts a mirror up and it has you for a moment in time kind of look at where you're at. And sometimes people would just rather escape than to look in the mirror to see where they're at and where they're falling short and where they need to move to progress to. So not everyone's ready for that kind of reality check.
Yeah, and I'm going to put this up. CB says low-hanging fruit is telling Black people they're broke because they buy Jordans and crack. That's part of it. Other thing is, you see, obviously, I don't know if you've been here long enough, but I always talk about systemic and institutional racism. It is a conglomerate of things as to why we are broke. But are we really broke if we're seeing about 1.7, probably $2 trillion in the Black community in America every year? So are we truly broke, or are we just misappropriating our funds? But you know who ain't broke? The Asian, the Arab, white people, Hispanic, everybody else that come in our neighborhood and we go and give our money to, they ain't broke. You know why they ain't broke? Because they get 97% of the money that we earn in our community every year. And then come Christmas time, and like I said, even on the weekend, if you're bored, do yourself a favor and go sit there in the middle of the mall, and you're going to see who's going back and forth in there. It's everybody else, but it's a lot of us. And then we sit up in here talking about we broke. I went to the Galleria Mall, which I've only been probably like 3 times in my life, here in Houston, and they have a very high-end part of the mall where they got the Gucci and the Uchi and the, you know, all the high-end stuff. And do you know it was mostly us walking through there? And Christmas is coming up. Black Friday is going to be Black people in there spending Black dollars. And then come January 1st, going to be talking about, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. I ain't got no money. So get out of here with all that. Yeah, buying Jordans and crack is part of that, but it's not all of that.
Jesus. You know, it'd be really nice. And I'm going to sound like an elitist. I'm sorry. I wait for the day we can just get to it. You guys, and I like this comment. Actually, I wish I could screenshot this. So instead of buying Jordans and crack, we should just get candles and a credit card. Hell yes, 100%. I'm telling you, you got to have a credit card. Listen, you guys, I promise you, there's a lot of shit that all of us could be doing than sitting here trying to educate each other right now. Period. And that's the thing with Black on Black business, man. Like, the first thing we do is come after each other. It's like, man, listen, I hate making candles. What time is it right now? It's 3 o'clock. I went to bed last night at 4 a.m. and woke up at 6:30. I made 200 candles last night. I don't like doing it. But you know what I like doing? It's not going into an office and I'm saying, hey, you know what? We need to let your floor go today. You guys are out. Or, you know what? I don't know. We're going to cut your hours. Or we don't like your behavior. You know, so when you own your own business, I don't care if you're selling cigars or cigarettes or chicken wings, which is actually pretty hot, by the way. Chicken wing spots be doing well. We should open one of those. But you have your own stuff. So when you wake up, you have a job. When you go to bed, you have a job. That's it. And we should support each other. And yeah, I think it is. Black people, if all of us had our own little business, we would be untouchable, because Black people, we are the best at this. No one has our skin, man. You take 2 Black women, put them in a kitchen with a bean and a chicken wing, and they'll create the biggest dish. Black people, no one can touch us. That's why they like a swag. Even I'm watching CNBC and the guy's like, my bad. Or like everywhere, you're talking about these whitest institutions on TV are using our language and our demeanor. Like, we're the only ones not benefiting from it. So we got to get out of our feelings and just say we are the best at this, but we need to focus on doing it. I tell you, I don't like candles. I hate making candles. I got 3rd-degree burns everywhere. But, you know, I know people need a service. I spent 20 grand on this clothing line. I made like $2,000 from it. You know what I'm saying?
Donna, go ahead. Say what you got to say. I'm gonna address something for once and for all.
I'm gonna circle the block. With the comment about Jordans and stuff like that. And and I agree with you, Demetria. When people say that they're broke and they don't have no money, and you're looking and they got iPhone 17 and an Android 51 or whatever the case may be, if you got $1,000 phone, you got some money. If you're buying sneakers, you got some money. And one of the things my kids will tell you, I watch money. I watch a dollar. I don't spend recklessly. And one book that I read, and I'm going to recommend it out here to everyone, it's called The Wealthy Barber. It's kind of like The Millionaire Next Door, but I think it's a better, easier read. And it talks about the mindset of people that have money and the things that they do. And the bottom line, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, because usually when you suggest books to people, most people ain't going to read them anyway.
I'm going on Amazon as we speak to get it.
Okay. I think his last name is Chilton, is the author's last name. But when it comes to people who acquired any kind of wealth, and you don't have to win the lotto to become wealthy, you don't have to invest major dollars in the stock market to become wealthy, but there's subtle things that you can do to kind of build your wealth, to accumulate money. And the biggest thing that I've in reading all these books is that people that have money, they don't spend frivolously. They have, just because they have it doesn't mean they're going to spend it. Case in point, Warren Buffett, the wealthiest man in America, Berkshire Hathaway. He lives in the same house that he bought back in 1954 in Nebraska. I think recently he traded up his car. The car he drives now is like 20 years old.
Yeah, it was like a 2011 Cadillac or something.
Yeah. And before that, he had like a 1974 Volvo.
Yeah.
He doesn't waste his money. Mark Zuckerberg, he buys 5 jeans, 5 t-shirts, 5 hoodies, so he doesn't have to think about what he's going to wear daily. It's, learning how to channel those funds so that you can use it for other things. So you can use it to perhaps invest into a business or put into your savings account and save that money to accumulate for your retirement, or to start a business, or to put your kids through college or something like that.
It's disordered it.
Okay. So it's a mindset. And, when my brother, I might get canceled for this, but my brother calls me Donna Blackenstein.
Okay.
So I won't elaborate on why, but you can kind of get the picture of that. And
yeah, I get you. I got you.
Okay. So, and holding true to that, I was watching something on YouTube, and it was called the Rich Jewish Grandma, something like that. And she talks about ways that they save money. She shops at thrift stores. She goes to clearance racks. She buys things on sale. She looks at her receipt when she buys stuff from the supermarket to make sure that they gave her the correct price. And it's little things like that. And we kind of look at it. And I think here's where, as a people, we need to kind of shift our mindset, because it's almost like we feel as if we do something like that we're claiming we're broke.
Yeah. And, in our community, it's not just our community, but we speaking about our community, we are very flashy. I heard a long time ago. Y'all remember back in the 80s. Now, I know both of y'all was around in the 80s because I was in the 80s. Y'all remember, Donna, I know you know, because you from New York, and it kind of started there, where y'all remember the t-shirts that says Gucci and, Fendi. People was walking around with those t-shirts. And I heard that even back then, they say wealthy people ain't wearing those t-shirts that say Gucci and Fendi. Their tag is on the inside.
Yeah.
Like they're not out there trying to let you know that they're wearing a label or something. But we do that, right? But so you saying for people hearing, oh, you got to be thrifty or this, that, and the other, it's like, I ain't broke, because I love going to thrift shops. I do. I be finding a whole lot of nice stuff at thrift shops, But yeah, we got to get in that mindset, or like a minimalist, type of mindset. And minimalists are not broke at all.
And there's nothing wrong with Louis and Gucci and Hermes. Nothing wrong with that. Just don't put that out front. I mean, like, I like nice stuff. I don't have a bunch of it. But I got a couple Louis wallets and some belts and some stuff, and some of my shit is from Dubai on the bootleg tip from my sister. But still, I like nice stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. But just if you're gonna do that, make sure you also put money in other places.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm telling you, when one of my friends called me today and he was like, Walter, what the hell's going on with Nordstrom stock? It's at $13. And it's my boy Sean Bradford, Steady B. He started when we were doing the stock option show with Gary, may he rest in peace, the War Zone. He was watching that and heard me recommend Nordstrom's to somebody. He went out, him and his wife, and bought and made a bunch of money on it. And today he's like, yo, it's down to $13. What should I do? And I'm like, dude, the world is collapsing right now financially. Gas prices, food, everything is starting to boil up. Credit cards are delinquent like more than ever. Mortgages are starting to fall behind. You guys, it's about to get nasty.
And speaking of high-end department stores and Black buying power, our dollar is usually what's funding those stores and those designers. Back in, I want to say it was the 90s, Tommy Hilfiger made a comment about Black people wearing his stuff. And he regretted that comment from that day, because the only time I see Tommy Hilfiger is if I'm in a Ross or some kind of thrift store. Nobody ain't buying that shit no more because of that statement. Neiman Marcus, right now, they're on the verge of closing. I think Saks is trying to buy them out because the CEO came out and said he doesn't want our people tarnishing his brand, shopping in his store, and that was the fall of that. So understand that our dollar means a lot to these companies. And the most important thing we can do is, if we're not going to invest in our community and our businesses within our community, invest in yourself.
Yeah, that's it, you guys. And if you buy Black, white, Puerto Rican, and Haitian, make sure you take some of their money and put it in your pocket. You guys, it's fun. I'll tell you, I've been broke as hell. I used to sleep on my sister's couch. It wasn't that long ago. And my back still hurt from the middle, the pillow that's higher than the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? My back still hurt. I have nightmares every time I lay on mine. I remember being that broken, going, you know what? I'm going to make sure no matter what I do, I'm always going to put money towards a business, a future. I don't care if I fail 50 times. I'm going to make sure that that's where my habit is. And yes, we can all do that. Like, I would love to be able to get together and to start something, aside from all the criticism and all that. That was just, man, I always say this. Imagine 5-10 brothers in suits getting out of just clean cars, suited up, sitting down, talking business. Ladies, can you imagine 5 brothers suited up, sitting at a table? It would be like women would be circling the building. Like, that is hot to me.
And let me say this, CB, I put your book that you mentioned, The Myth and Propaganda of Buying Black Power, in my cart, and I will get that book as well. I love books, and I agree with you. We do need different points of view, and but nobody is saying that there's nothing outside of pull yourself up by the bootstraps. I just think there's a lot of that conversation going on, about all the other things that's going on with us as Black people financially. And I just like to use this show to try to figure out how we can do better, even though the system and, the institutions and stuff are not for Black people, but there are things that we can do. So that's what I like spending this show trying to figure out solutions, because I'm telling you, there's people who have bought houses, who've done well in stock market, and a whole host of other things just by taking advice from this show. And so at the end of the day, when you have money, or you have more of money, then you will live a better life most of the time, not all the time, and you can make better decisions or different decisions. So that's all we're really trying to do here. We're not trying to say that institutional and systemic racism does not exist. We know that it does. We'd be foolish to say, oh no, there's nothing stopping you. We know that it is, okay? But there are some things that we can do.
But is it really? Let me be the adversary here. Is it really stopping us? Like I mentioned, bootstraps. talking about our ancestors. They picked themselves up by the bootstraps. We ain't doing that. We are born with food, water, housing, and money to spend at the corner store. We don't have bootstraps, so we can miss that. Like especially like our generation, we had parents. Our parents, we could get a hold of them. They gave us money. They gave us housing and food. And my father gave me my first car. And there's no bootstrap here. Anything mistake that I made after I left my house was all on me. Period. And our kids, Lord have mercy. If you're a millennial in here and you have parents you have kids our kids' age, you have zero excuse. Y'all are blowing your opportunity. Period. That's all. The white man ain't got nothing to do with the millennials. You guys have more power and more energy, and you guys just sit around and cry like babies. So bootstrapping don't relate to y'all or even me. We have too much opportunity. When I was a kid, I had a lawnmower business, and I used to cut grass and go to school and work at McDonald's. We can all do that right now. Every single one of us. When we get off this show, we could go to work. We could all do it. And if you really own your groove, you don't have time.
You don't have to just jump in, Donna.
Okay. So I want to do a comment. That someone said that we're not the only ones running out for designers. Here's what we need to do is get out of the habit of comparing ourselves to other demographics, because we don't operate the way other demographics operate. Asians, I'll start with them. Most of them, they're wearing knockoffs, unless they're, coming from a billion-dollar family. And two, they live in a household where 15 or 20 of them are living in the house. They have their grandparents, their great-grandparents, their cousins, and they're all splitting and pooling their money. Greeks, Italians, Indians, same deal. They live in these big houses, but the daughters and the sons ain't moving out until they get married. And they go to college, or maybe they don't go to college. Maybe they work for their father that's a plumber or an electrician or does concrete, and they save their money. They stack them coins. They're able to go out and buy a house. So they do have the luxury of being able to go out and buy designer, because they don't have the overhead that most of us have, because we don't live the same way that they live. So I really want to for us to kind of shift. Well, it's kind of like you telling a child, don't do that. And they're like, well, so-and-so does it. You can't do that.
No, and absolutely. And I know I was clear when I said, I know it's not just us that do it. I said, but we are speaking about us. So yeah, we know that we're not the only ones that wear designer clothes. In fact, a lot of those designers don't even own us up in the clothes. They don't. Some of those designers be like, y'all cheapening the brand. And I give y'all, a matter of fact, Walter, are you there?
He's on mute.
Walter, maybe he'll come back.
No, you're right. A lot of designers didn't want us on their clothes. Back in the 80s, Dapper Dan back in New York, he was taking those designers, he was piecing their clothes. Him in Paris, they were making outfits for rappers, and they were like, no, we don't want them. Fast forward 20 years later now, hip hop 40 years later, now they're pushing to get, rappers and Black celebrities into their merchandise, because they understand the weight that it carries in our communities when we see, fill in whatever person's name in the blank, that we're going to want to try and emulate. The younger ones are going to want to try and emulate that. So
yeah, and Walter, tell the story. I'm gonna go get a book real quick, but tell the story about the black card and what was it Ken Chenault or somebody said to you about who they did not want to have that black card and why.
Oh shit!
About it cheapening the value of it.
You're trying to get the party started. Well, so when I worked at American Express, I used to hand out the black card. So to Kanye, Dougie Fresh, you name it. But what I'm just gonna say it. So the upper management, they got irritated because one day was a video where Puffy was using his black card at the bar and was just like, yo, everybody, I'm balling out. And then there was an incident with Nelly and the whole tip drill. So when I tried to get Nelly a black card, they were like, you know what, this is not this is not what we want the brand to do. It's not to swipe down the crack. It's not to buy the bar out. This is a very elegant credit card. American Express is an elegant company that is for the elegant and the people that are well behaved. We don't want to see people just acting a fool with it. And so a lot of the brands used to feel that way. Now a lot of them have changed. Even Amex, they've got some other cards and stuff now. They give, you almost anybody can get an American Express card. But it used to be a time, like they didn't want anyone to know. If you had a black card, they didn't want the people that had it didn't want people to know they had it. Because when I got mine, my life changed. It was nuts. People asking me for this, that. Oh, can you get the bill? Well, I'm like, the dumbest thing I ever did is tell people I had a black card. It was the demise of my financial lifestyle.
And let me address this. Unknown, and I know who you are. He says, only fashion I care about is revolution. Give me some revolutionary books like Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews. You mean like this one?
What's that?
A Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews by the Nation of Islam. You mean this one? Part 2? How about this one? Part 3. So we does this over here. Now I'm in the process of reading them. My father is he got them for me, and he's insisting that I read it to him and read them and give him a report when I'm done. And let me tell y'all something about these books. That these books here, every word of these books were taken from that community. Okay. This is not something that the Nation of Islam came up with by themselves, or it's an opinion. It's a think piece. Every word in these books are verified from the community that they are comparing us to. So these books are nothing but facts. And I'm gonna just leave it out there. I got a whole stack of books right here. I need another bookcase. But let's continue.
You guys, and we need Jews, and Jews need us. And they are adamant about saying that. I heard, man, say what you want about what's his name, Leo Cohen. He has a really good episode with the Breakfast Club, and they tried to come after him, and how Charlemagne is. And he made a comment. He goes, I sent my kids to college on Sucker MCs, which is like Run DMC's debut song. That's like Sucker MCs was like the beginning. He goes, I sent my kids to college on that. But also Run and Russell, all those guys got rich on Sucker MCs. And they all made money from it. So like, and then they were asking Lior, like, how did you get in with Run DMC? He was like, hey man, their black manager went on a drug stupor and didn't have his passport. So they called the dude with the passport, and I ended up taking Run DMC on tour. That's how Lior got in the music business, for taking Run DMC on tour, because the manager disappeared and couldn't get his passport. So the whole thing with blacks and Jews, when I say we need each other, I'm saying we all need each other. Asians, Mexicans. I have Mexican people that work with me, Asians that work with me. I got a sister girl I hired last night, who'll be here 6 o'clock. I got Donna, helping me, running my life now. Walter, I need that accent. I'm still afraid of that.
So I'm gonna add. Someone had mentioned something about financial literacy being taught in high schools. There's another book I'm gonna give you here. It's called "Dumbing Us Down." I can't remember the author, but it's an account of, again, my Cliff Notes version. It's a New York City public school teacher that tried to take a different approach to education. I want to say in the 80s or something like that. And the Board of Education was not really happy with him when he did that. Because one of the things he points out, prior to the Industrial Revolution, kids went to school up until like 8th grade. If you ever watched like Little House on the Prairie, they weren't going to high school and stuff like that. They went up to 8th grade. They learned basic math, how to read, and that was it. When the Industrial Revolution came along, the time in school was extended, and that was in preparation to prepare you to become a worker. High school was really designed to teach people how to conform, how to show up someplace on time responsibly, when to have lunch, what work needs to be done, and when to check out. That's all high school is designed for. So when you look at programs such as financial literacy, it doesn't fit into that mold of developing free thinkers. Okay. And with the education curriculum and the pressure that teachers are under to hit certain levels, what you will find, because my daughter went to high school out in Rancho, when you go to a high school that has a lot of money coming into it, you'll find those programs. Because she had a class in high school that she had to do a budget, she had to invest, she had to know about, stocks and IRAs and all that. But you go to Compton, Inglewood, fill in the blank, they don't have those programs because they don't have those resources.
Yeah, and another book too, since we talking about books here, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
That is a very profound book, and that came to mind when you were talking about high school. He basically said 3 places that children learn fear, and that's the home, school, and church. And
yeah,
we all
don't give them that book. They ain't ready for that book.
that book will blow your mind.
Don't do it. I read that book. It changed my whole world. It had me looking at everybody funny. Don't do it.
And it did me too. And it also made me rethink my relationship with the church. Because I mean, and the premise of that book is he wrote it, I think, in 1937 or something like that. And so the question is, was he really having a conversation with the devil, or was it a figment of his imagination? But the devil was giving him predictions and things like that. And he says, and Napoleon basically made the devil have a conversation with him, but Napoleon had to make a deal, had to do something for him. And he had to call the devil, what do you say, the master of this world or something like that. So they made that agreement, but the devil told him, you can talk about this all you want, but you'll probably be institutionalized. They'll think you're crazy with the stuff that I'm about to tell you. So his wife actually did not publish the book. I think it was 2011 or something like that. Well, after he had died, and the stuff that the devil said to Napoleon in this book. Now, remember, this was 1937. A lot of this stuff has come to pass, and it's like, it's really mind blowing. The devil said all the things that he was going to do. Like, it wasn't just like in the Bible where it's kind of like you have to maybe put your own interpretation to it. The devil was really specific. So, Outwitting the Devil, if y'all want to listen to read that, it's a trip.
A lot of those books, and here's where the power of reading comes into play, because I read someplace that less than 3% of the population owns a library card. And library cards are free. You can go in, you don't have to buy the book, you could borrow it, you can get it in digital form. But a lot of Napoleon Hill's works and, Wallace Whittles and all of those authors from that time, when the Industrial Revolution came in, the Fords and the Carnegies, those with wealth, they didn't want that knowledge seeping in to their factory workers. So they pulled a lot of those books off the shelves. And for centuries, they got lost. You find that Freemason libraries were able to hold on to some of them. And so now they're starting to resurface. But even now, as they resurface, they're bridged, they're republished, and they kind of edit out certain things. There's a lot of power in books. I tell people that is a lot. If you want to change your life, commit to reading a book a week on financial literacy. It will change your life.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up to a book a week because I'll be having a million things going on. But then when I feel guilty because I'm like, now, you should have put that phone down a long time ago and should have had a book in your hand. So I'm trying to, really get back disciplined to just, reading on my spare time. And I know in the Nation of Islam, they have a thing called Never Without a Book, which basically means you take a book everywhere you go. When you're waiting at the doctor's or the car dealership or whatever, you should always have a book. I mean, but I actually want to go back to a comment here. Let's see here. Unknown, he says, I read them books and turned into Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who you're talking about, because it makes sense. We learned about Jewish Holocaust, but not the Black Holocaust. Told my grandmother rather, stop watching Judge Judy and read A Secret Relationship. Yeah, so you say we learned about the Jewish Holocaust and not the Black Holocaust, but don't you? Yeah, and I know, Jewish community, they teach their children about the Holocaust. We send our children, and I say we, not all of us, but as Black people, we send our children to the public school system as some of my friends will say, the public food system, and expect for them to teach our Black children about, the things that are as important to us. And so we need to get really good at teaching our children about the Black Holocaust. And I also want to say, in regards to Dr. Khalid Muhammad, I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show, but my brother and I, we knew Dr. Khalid Muhammad very well. My father was a second lieutenant at Temple 27 in Los Angeles. So just a fun fact for you there.
Yeah, no, I named my oldest son after him, actually. We used to spend time with him. He used to come to the shop all the time. We used to work on his car. Remember, he had a Rolls Royce with a Ford engine in it, and we used to always work on it. And whenever he came, we'd have to lay stuff on the seats so we didn't get it dirty, because his wife and the sisters always wore those white dresses. And I remember that to this day.
Absolutely. So I'm just reading you guys' comments. Let's see. You know what? We do have another video that we need to get to. And hello to everybody that came on here only in America. How you doing? Just me. I saw someone else came on here really quick. Let me acknowledge you. Charles Sigler, how you doing? And Norris, I saw your comment. You said God gave you an epiphany from listening to us. Okay, maybe one day you'll share it with us. Very interesting. And Malia, how you doing? And I'm sorry to anyone else that came on here. And Kiki, I say hi to you, but I'll say hello to you again. All right. So, and Tia, to you, how you doing? And Star Child, how you doing? You said, how did he die? Well, what did they tell you? How did? Listen, that's what we don't get into that kind of stuff on here. I'm just gonna say that I don't know. R.I.P. to him. Nevertheless, him being Brother Khalid, Minister Khalid Muhammad, I should say. All right, so Arneva says, I just found Outwitting the Devil audiobook on YouTube. Yep, I've listened to it on YouTube as well. And I've given the book away so many times. I do not have it in my possession at this moment, but I have listened to it. Since I will listen to it after the show. Thank you. You're welcome. So anyway, let's look at this video here. So of course, you guys know that the shutdown is supposed to happen on the 1st, the government shutdown, because the Republicans are not willing to acquiesce some of the things that Joe Biden wants to put into the new package, which entails some more money to Ukraine and some other stuff. And the Republicans are like, nah, we ain't gonna do it. So there is a governmental shutdown, maybe or maybe not gonna happen. But I'm gonna show y'all this video, and then we're gonna have a discussion about that. Here we go.
Be able to pay your bills by the end of the month if Congress doesn't act?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I worry about that. A whole lot. I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying not to cry.
Price has worked at the Library of Congress cafeteria for decades, faced with yet another shutdown.
I've been up on this hill for 42 years. I've been there. Oh.
So as you saw there, there's a sister that works at the Library of Congress, and she is going to be affected by the shutdown if there in fact is a shutdown. Now the shutdown affects federal employees, and some of those employees could be furloughed, which means, sent home. I don't know if it's necessarily fired, but sent home. And some of those employees will still have to work, even though they are not getting a paycheck. And so she's been there 42 years. So obviously she's experienced a shutdown or two in the 42 years that she's been there, because there has been some shutdowns within that time. But she is saying that if that happens, she's not going to be able to pay her bills. Now, 42 years, and that sister looks like she maybe is retirement age, or she is getting ready to retire. But I think just for me, listen at that, my heart goes out to her, because I also think it illustrates how so many people are really living check to check, and that if a shutdown happens and she doesn't get her check on the 1st, then, that's going to spell disaster for her. But she's not rare. There's a lot of people, as I saw somebody say, living paycheck to paycheck. So Donna, what's your opinion about that?
Um, that's sad to hear. She's worked someplace for 42 years. Granted, she probably has like a nice pension that she's accrued. But if I'm gonna do simple math, I'm gonna say she's been working there 42 years. She probably started when she was like 18, 19, 20. So even if she, goes out on her pension, Social Security, she's not at the max age to kind of get the maxed payout. And a lot of people, believe it or not, especially in that boomer era, they forecast out how much money they're going to get from their pension, how much money they're going to get from Social Security, what their expense, and they plan for that. But this is a reality check for a lot of us, hopefully, that you can have the best job or what you think to be the best job or the most secure job, but that's still not enough. There's some preparation that you have to do independently of that job for days like this. You're right. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have, you hear from every financial advisor, have 6 to 9 months of living expenses. Most people can't save 6 to 9 months for like their gas bill or their electric bill, let alone, rent, utilities, phone, car payment, insurance. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are in her position as well. And being the job that she has, I think it's probably safe to say they probably all look like her.
Yeah. And Rosalind, so you said that explained why she wouldn't be getting paid because she's a cafeteria worker for the federal government. So that includes her. But the great thing is, and I'm being sarcastic here, is that Congress ain't gonna miss their paycheck because I think it's like 1983 they made a rule or a law that regardless of what's going on, they gonna get their paycheck. So they will get their paycheck, Social Security and all that will go out. It also says that it will affect the military as well, because I guess they are, it's on the federal government payroll. I think that's maybe active military.
Yeah, in the shutdowns, they don't last long, and those people, even if they have to work, if I'm correct, they'll be paid for the hours they work. So the government shutdown is not as bad as people think. What's worse is the actors, the writers' strike, the UAW strike right now, the auto workers, all those guys. Those guys go months without working. Talk to the cleaner that cleaned all the costumes for the studios. Go talk to that dude. He's go shut down.
Here's what also with a lot of federal jobs, because I do have a friend that works for the Fed, they get paid once a month. So that's a hard payroll cycle to begin with, because you are budgeting your entire living arrangement off of getting a check on the first of the month and making that stretch out until the next check hit. So with these furloughs, where she has to show up to work and she'll get paid, that's great and all. But you know what happens when you get paid that lump sum, when you do get your back due? Uncle Sam is going to get a large portion of that.
That's what they don't tell people.
And that's what they don't tell people is like, you know what? You'll get your money, but we're going to tax the shit out of you when you do get it.
Yeah, that and you would think they would fix that, like, okay,
spread it out for them.
Yeah. But they don't. Yeah. So Walter, I know you tried to get the party started before I showed the video, but what say you?
Listen, part of me feels for her. I understand what she's going through. But these day and ages, there's so much knowledge and information. Like, I'm seeing someone right now, and she's on Instagram a lot. And I said, if me and you are going to do anything together with our life, you got to cut that shit out. I can't do a chick that's on social media all day, scrolling and liking. I can't roll like that. When me and you, we get together, it is, where's the money? Where's our future? That's all I want to talk about. If we're not rubbing coconut on each other, where's the money? Period. And I'm 100% true. And so she came in one day and we watched YouTube videos. Cody sent all these, you name it, all these business. And she's like, my whole feed now is all business stuff and nutrition and health. The point I'm making is that information is out there for all of us. Then YouTube doesn't go, oh, it's a nigga, let me change the content. You can type in, start my business, how to save for a rainy day, whatever, and you have 1,000 videos. The information is there for us, and it is free. So we just need to, I think, push each other to like what's on our phones, what's on your TV. Netflix, Amazon has some really good documentaries on wealth and finance. Now, if you're the type of person that has to watch Power, that sounds like Donna, Power and all these other things, shows, do that. Empire, but don't bitch and complain when the government shuts down and you're not prepared. You've been in the job for 42 years. You have seen ups and downs with the government. And Joe Biden is president, for God's sake. I'm surprised the government is even standing. So, like, I feel for her, but at the same time, she gonna be okay because she gonna get her check. And I feel like they always take the person that looked the saddest and just down and out and swing low, ain't your mama. They always get that woman to come talk about the pain. But she, like Donna says, probably has a pension plan with the state, money saved. She's walking away with all kind of benefits, and she looked like she should be going already. She looked like she could be in her 60s at least. Yeah. What's she still doing there?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people who are, I guess, past what you would consider retirement age. Are they still working? You know, because I was having this conversation with somebody else earlier. I'm like, well, inflation, that kind of affects people's retirement, because a lot of times people think, oh, you know, I'm 401k or whatever, I should be fine. My friend, he said, and he makes a lot of money. He does. But he said, when I did the math, I'm looking at about $1,500 a month, you know, with my 401k. And then he said it come up to like $2,100 or something like that if he puts his Social Security with it, you know. If he's looking out, he's not looking retired now, but, you know, looking at it now, that's what he would make. And he's like, so, yeah. And I said, well, that's why a lot of people can't retire, especially if you live in California. You ain't retiring on no $2,100 a month. I said, but the other thing, I think that people, like when you think about getting $2,100 a month, even though it's probably not enough, you think about the time you're ready to retire, your house is paid off already. You probably don't have a whole lot of bills like you did when you were younger. Maybe you've gotten your credit card debt, you know, under wraps and stuff like that. So, but even still, I know $2,100 anywhere is not enough to live on.
It is in Mexico. It is in Spain, Portugal. It is in Ghana. You know what I'm saying? Or Thailand. There's a million places you can go. And $2,100 in the Philippines, man, you have servants and 2 wives. It's just understanding what you have to work with. If you were struggling on retirement, you got $2,000 a month, tell your kids, I love you guys, but I'll see you when I see you. And we can talk on Zoom. And I'd have my black ass in the Philippines somewhere, chilling on the beach, $2,000. You are rolling. Those people make $100, $200, $300, $400 a month. If you make $400 a month in the Philippines, you are considered middle class. So that we need to look at the whole picture. You know, this lady, I feel sorry for her, but she's in the greatest country in the world financially. And if she wants to, if the government, let's say the government shuts down and she gets some free time, she could use that free time to start her own thing. So when she does get to go back to work, she'll have some more skills. That's what we should be talking about. And stop voting for these fools.
And I would say, well, yeah, because it's at this point, it's, you know, it's both of them, the Republicans and the Democrats, and everybody in Congress got enough money to survive a shutdown, but they're not going to be affected by it. But if they were, you know, they making money hand over fist from lobbyists and everybody else you don't know about. But I would say this, I think we do need to take into account that life does happen. And I'll just be, you know, completely honest with you all. I worked at Frito-Lay, and I worked there for a numerous amount of years. I ended up getting hurt, and I could not go back there. And in the meantime, while they were trying to figure out what to do with me, I was getting workers' comp, but I needed to take out my pension because I had a set of circumstances where I kind of inherited 3 other children, you know? So it was just like a perfect storm that went on. It just was, right? So I lived off of that, took care of my household, and pretty soon it was all gone. So I basically, you know, had to start over with some things. This was like a 2008 8. Wasn't that long ago, but it was. So I say that to say, I get it. Sometimes life happens and, you know, you have to do other things with that money and things like that. But I tell you, it won't happen to me twice. You know what I mean? My mom's one of her favorite books, and I read it was, I won't be the same fool twice. Not that I was a fool, you know, because like I said, life happens. But a reason why I'm even telling you that is because we don't want to, you know, because we don't know that lady's circumstances.
Yeah.
You know, maybe she inherited some grandchildren, or, you know, something happened and she don't have a savings. Like, things happen. A lot of times that's out of our control, but, you know, hopefully this will be a learning experience or what have you, and she can get on her feet, because she don't seem like she's going to be working another 42 years.
And that's one thing I wanted to add, because you never know. Someone had mentioned in the comments she's well over 60. You never know why someone that age is still working. You know, it's a government job. And when I've spoken with clients before in the past, and they've worked past their expiration date, as most people would think, it's usually they can't afford to leave. And the big one also is medical coverage. They have some kind of pre-existing condition, and the benefits that they're getting from their job is going to be a lot better than Medicare Part A, B, or C. That's one. Two, you don't know what state she's in. Not every state is retirement friendly. California ain't retirement friendly. But, you know, that's why you have all of these people moving to Florida, or they go to Tennessee, or, you know, they're going to Vegas now, because those are states that their pension is not going to get taxed on. So usually when someone's phasing into retirement and they're going to take their pension or whatever retirement money they've put aside, they plan for that exit, they plan for that move, so that when they start drawing on it, their retirement benefits are not getting taxed. And so when you throw something like this out of left field towards someone like that they had a plan in their head in place of where they wanted to see their future, and the government kind of comes in and wreaks havoc on that plan, that could be a little traumatizing. So let's just kind of keep that in perspective as well.
Yeah, because it's not always somebody you went to the casino, you know, and gambled all their money away. Life does happen. And we might need to have this conversation. It's going to happen a lot for a lot of people. Because listen, I went to the grocery store with my daughter, as we do once or twice a week. We're trying to boil it down to once. And it seemed like last week when I went, prices weren't as high as they were this week.
Let me tell you, while my brother calls me Donna Blackenstein, Trader Joe's has had a 22% price increase in the products in their stores.
And Sprouts, Kroger, all of them. But yeah, because we don't go to Trader Joe's much, but we went like 2 weeks ago, and it's like, my God.
Yeah.
So life is going to happen for a lot of people. I mean, and I'm one of those people, and I always say this, I don't spend a lot of money on a lot of things, but I will spend money at the grocery store, because I've been, you know, to the point where there's times where I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to decide on the tomato or the onion. So I've just, you know, vowed that I would never go to the grocery store and live in lack. And plus, I'm particular about the food that I eat. I'm not going to go buy no cheap food, because I know you're going to pay for it now and you're going to pay for it later. So that's one thing I don't do. I like to go to the grocery store and just spend the money I need. But the last couple of times I went, I was like, for real? How we end up spending this kind of money up in here? We only got like 5 things.
It's gonna get a lot worse too. It's like the frog sitting in the water, and he is boiling, and the water's getting hot, and he really don't know it. You can listen. And I mean, somebody said I should have some compassion. You guys, there's compassion, which I do have, which is why I try and educate people and get people off their butt and get them moving. But you guys, compassion can only take you so far.
Yeah.
The people that get up and get going and get working, and fight through hell, those things, you don't really need so much compassion when you're working like crazy. These days, you're going to have to. You guys, believe me, This morning I was up 3, 4 a.m. making candles for a party I was supposed to do tonight. And I was like, man, I want to go to bed. Matter of fact, I fell asleep with the candle burner on and I smelled smoke. I was like, oh shit, that's me. So I'm like, okay, let me get up, walk outside, jump in the shower, let's get going again. The point I'm making, I don't want to do that shit. But my bills and my kids and whatever, everything I need to pay for, the compassion is not there. I can't say, well, you know, Mr. So-and-so, Chase Bank, can you have some compassion? They will lock, you worked at Chase, they will lock you out. They will, man, please. So yeah, it's cool to have compassion, but at what point do we, how do I say this?
No, I know. Let me say it because I get what you're saying.
I get it too.
Yeah, I get it. And nobody's saying not to have compassion, like ha ha ha, you sucker, you that's what you get. No, we ain't talking like that. But I'm gonna tell y'all another story because you know I don't like to lie to y'all. So after my divorce, I was married for 10 months.
Lord have
I was
mercy.
married for 10 months, and I was like, it was probably the worst that I had been in my adult life. I hardly had any money or any of that stuff. And I was lamenting to Walter about it. And he was like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, basically, you better make it do what it do, you know, quit complaining and all this other stuff. And my mom gave me the same speech. Now, imagine if they were compassionate with me. You know what? I understand divorce sucks. He's such a horrible person to do this to you. Ooh, come here, let me. And then I would be like, but they kicked me in the behind, you know, not physically, but they let me know, nah, this ain't the move. Like you come from hustlers. Enough of the crying, enough of the, you know, the pity party. Get up off it and go get it. And I've been going to get it ever since. So I thank God that I have not had people coddle me. How can I say this? Coddle me with compassion. You want to have a conversation, you know what, that is horrible. Yeah, I know you're going to get through. This too shall pass. Joy comes in the morning. But right now, you need to get after it. So nobody is saying we don't feel bad for the lady. But that's temporary.
Yeah. It's temporary, but it's also a learning experience because like I said, a lot of these times when we talk about finances, it's in a mirror into your face. So I'm sure there are people out there that really can sympathize with her because they're in the same place. When they see her, they see themselves in that mirror. So in order not to end up like her, if you're in that place right now, what are you going to do so you don't end up in that place where she's at right now?
Yeah, and she got more security than all of us, most of us.
Probably.
Listen, man, if you got a government job, you can tell your creditors, kiss my ass to where the sun don't shine. I'm filing bankruptcy. I'm buying an RV and I'm getting me a little piece of land and I'm going to live on that and I'm going to plug into my neighbor's water and electricity. Your paycheck is still coming. She has more power than I do because I don't get furloughed or days off. People say, what are you doing for the holidays? Fool, I'm working. Ain't no holiday when you own your own business. So,
yeah, and that's what I say too. I mean, I work for myself, and I'm like every day. I mean, like when Monday comes, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's Monday. I'm like, me personally, I work all weekend. I get everything I need to get done all weekend, so I can just trick off on Monday, you know, or whatever other day. Like I do all the heavy work because if I'm not going nowhere on the weekend, I'm like, what else am I doing? Let's just get it all done when Monday comes. I can wake up when I want to. Usually it's like 7:30 at the latest. But I get it. To me, there's no specific day like, oh, it's my Friday or whatever the case is. And listen, I'm not disparaging anybody who says that because I used to say that. I used to say, oh, it's my Friday. And then I have to stress out on my days off because I knew I had to go back. I worked 4-10. So I had 3 days off. I had to go back 3 days later. But I want to have Walter and Donna, I have a few questions in here. So maybe y'all can help. So Star Child, you have a question. He says, what kind of business can I start? I just don't know my gift from God.
What do you like to do?
Yeah.
It starts, you got to like it. You got to love it. So what do you like to do?
They're saying they're a jack of all trades.
You know what? What do you do well? What do you do well? Because you know, I'm guilty. I do a lot of things well, but what do I love to do is always the question that starts with me. What do I love to do? What would you do for free if money was not an issue? The thing that you would do for free is the thing that you really need to hone in on and make that your business.
Yeah, and I think that's perfect. That's what my mom used to tell us. She says, find what you know how to do well and get people to pay you for it. Whatever that is, you know, I see, because a lot of times people think, oh, I gotta make this fantastic doodad that does this and flies to the moon and, you know, it's super revolutionary. You might know how to, I don't know, write for people. People pay me to write. Hey, I need this, that, and the other. Can you write this up for me? And I'm like, sure. And people pay me to do it. So it's like whatever, like Donna said, you know how to do a lot of things. Just figure out how to get people to pay you for it. But the one thing you know how to do well, start there and then do everything else.
The other thing is, maybe she might not be sure. Here's the other thing. Take a poll of people that know you well. Say, what do you think I do well? And people will tell you, they'll be honest with you. And if that lines up with what you love to do, run with that.
Yeah, and then Urban Bake says, Walter, can you write an ebook on candle making?
One day, I do have to refer that to the lady in pink. I am stressed, maxed out. I'm having trouble. Man, I have not showered today.
That's what that smell is.
I'm just saying, I'm keeping it real. Ebook. I got a girl coming over here, and what time is it? In 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'll ask her. I'm telling you. I mean, eventually, but this is sort of the ebook too. The stuff that we're giving you now would be in the ebook. You know, like I wish if I could go back to my 18-year-old self and take all my knowledge and then put it in front of me. Oh man, help me, Jesus, Allah, whoever you believe in. I wouldn't date. Man, I'd be in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. Because you know what I realized? All the dinners and time I spent taking out women, none of those things I did with them matters today. If every time I took a woman out just to waste money and I use that as a down payment on a piece of real estate, man, can you imagine? And you know, the rich dude in the jeans and the holy t-shirt got women all over the place. Because women, y'all like security. I don't care. I could be bald-headed, looking like Jabba the Hutt. But if I'm rich, you'd be like, you know what? He don't smell that bad.
No.
You understand my point. Women buy into security. And so why not just tell my 18-year-old self, just build security. Like the girl I'm dating, she's missed work 2 Mondays in a row. And she's like, it's hard to be around you and go to work because you're like, let's get it. We should be like. And so I'm like, well, I don't know how many PTO days you have, but like, I don't know. I don't want to get sidetracked on that. But like, we have a lot of things we could be doing differently. The world is ours. We just got to put in the work. So back to the original question, find something you enjoy doing. Me, I love coconut oil. Everybody knows this. So if you look over on this table over here, I have some coconut oil candles that I'm working on feverishly. My job is to make America intimate again. It's hard to fight when you're rubbing coconut oil on each other.
Did you say make America intimate again?
I sure did. I said it right here. I'm serious. I mean, you think about this. What do we really, like you take money, relationships, think about the times you argue and fight with your spouse and all the times we spend stressing and all. My God, how much time and energy and money do we spend in relationships fighting over dumb stuff? Wouldn't it make sense to say, baby, I screwed up. Go lay down. I got the coconut oil candle. It's going down. You know what I'm saying? That would at least buy me some time.
I mean,
and by the way,
I think y'all are on to something with those candles for sure. I mean, it's multi-purpose, right?
Oh no! Don't let me get the lubricated candle down.
Okay, now you're going too far, brother. You're going.
I'm just saying.
It will be out by Valentine's Day.
You're right.
I mean, I'm just at the end of the day, what do we all want? Love, affection, food, recognition, housing. You know what I'm saying? So candles wasn't my thing, but I saw them everywhere I went. I was like, oh, I could do that. And I tell you, everybody at me, I said, you like candles? Heck to the yes. The Uber lady, I told her I had a candle business. She pulled her card, turned her sign off, came in and picked a candle from right off the shelf. It was like, you paying people how much to work for? Oh, she's like, baby, it take me 7 days to make $1,000 a week. All I got to do is sell 100 candles. Are you insane? She was 75 years old. My Uber driver.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Walk in my house. She don't know me. I could have been Jack the Kidnapper. I told her I had a baby oil candle up in here. She still walked in. The point I'm making is find something that you enjoy, because there's going to be times where it don't work out, where it's crap and you want to give up.
Mm-hmm.
Man, whew.
That's what's going to
burn my house down.
Lady Blue wants us to get some feedback. So it says, I want to purchase land and I want to make sure I cover all the bases and I'm not in a lemon sale. I researched, but there are some bullet points to ensure I cross all my T's and dotted all my I's.
Okay, Lady Blue, there's a YouTuber. I wrote it down because I saw the question. And he has an episode where he has a zoning expert that comes in and talks about purchasing land. Because if you want to purchase land, here are the key things you need to find out what you want to do with the land. Are you trying to build on it? Are you trying to do glamping on it? Are you going to put an RV on it? Are you going to pitch a tent on it? You need to know that, because all of that's going to determine the parcel of land that you're going to be able to purchase. Because you might purchase 100 acres in Wyoming, but the zoning on it is not zoned for build, meaning that there's no water coming there, no electricity. They don't want you building on it. The only thing you could do is pitch a tent. So the last thing you want to do is buy 100 acres of something and then find out the only thing you could do is pitch a tent on it. So first decide, what do you want to use the land for? And then look for land that falls within those zoning requirements, and, get down to the city offices for where you want to purchase that land and befriend someone in the zoning office and ask questions. But when asking your questions, be somewhat educated in what you're looking for. Don't go in and say, tell me what you know, because people won't help you when you haven't put forth any effort. They'll meet you kind of halfway. So that's my advice on that.
Absolutely. Walter, Tammy Love, and how you doing? It says, Walter, do you need a rep in the Pacific Northwest?
The answer to that question is yes. Donna, matter of fact, Donna can answer that question.
Yes,
I can. I'm gonna let Donna answer it first, and then I'll piggyback, because actually, so you know, Donna I met doing one of my other small businesses, who has agreed to take over as CEO and run the candle company, which is making my life a lot easier, because I can go out and get anybody to do anything. I am not the best person with paperwork structure. So I'd rather have 50, 40, 20, 30, 60% of something than 100% of nothing. So with that being said, I'm going to let Donna answer the question.
Yes, we do. If you are in the continental United States, reach out, follow Lit Candle Company on Instagram, direct message, and we'll get that information out to you.
And then, Walter, do you have the Lit Candle Company moniker on your nameplate right now? And then, Kimmy, you said off the grid, or so I think she's asking about the property or the land. Are you asking us, Kimmy, or you speak? Because it's hard for me to tell if you guys are responding to each other in the chat. And hello, Gabriel. How you doing? It says, great podcast today. Walter and Donna are very inspirational as guests. Absolutely. I'm sharing this link with my 30-year-old son as we speak. Thanks to Meet Your Black First. It is my pleasure. And thank you so much for sharing it, because the more our people get it and learn, then the better off we are going to be. And I love that you all, and Kiki, I saw you too on Facebook. I said you're also talking to your son about it as well. Yeah, let's get them while they're young, so they won't have some of the problems older people be having with money.
Get you a piece of land. I mean, off the grid. I mean, like what I did is I got a piece of property off the grid that's next to a grid. So there's electricity on my property and water connected to it. Even though I'm not connected to it right now, I have the ability to pull an RV up there and just live there. And I don't even need a fence. I could just look around at my people in my RV and be like, this is my land. This is my spot. And so just get you a piece of land, you guys. I'm telling you, I'm going to give you the math. Here is my new age financial plan. This house I'm in, I'm Airbnb-ing it out, the whole thing. I'm looking at, and this is going to sound crazy, but I looked at last week moving into an airplane hangar or moving my primary residence onto a boat. So for instance, a home in California, a decent home is going to cost you $3-4 grand. Easy. That's for like 3 bedrooms. Almost anywhere, it's going to cost you $3 grand. You can, to rent a boat, it's like $10 a foot to rent a boat slip plus the boat payment. So you're paying $500 a month on the boat payment, on the boat slip, and another $500-600 a month on the boat. That's $1,000 to live in a boat that you can live in and take showers and all that stuff. That's where my mind is at. It's kind of wacko. And then I was in an airplane hangar, and one of the guys lives in the airplane hangar. He had a shower, electricity in there right next to his airplane, like Tom Cruise Maverick. He got the same setup. He rented an airplane hangar and turned it into his residence. And I'm like, that is the move. It sounds a little wacko, but like if you wanted to take your expenses from $4,000 a month to $1,200, I mean, this is what people are doing. One of my friends, funny, she called me right now. She quit her job at $140,000 a year. Her last day is next Thursday. And she is getting rid of her house. She's getting an RV, and her son are going to travel the country with her retirement. And she's going to buy things and flip money and do stuff on the internet. She goes, I'm done. I'm going to get an RV, and me and my son are going to travel, and we're going to make money on the road. I'm done stressing out. So
someone asked the question. Let me answer about where to find land. There are a couple sites out there. One I look at frequently. It's called landwatch.com. And it'll pull up land for all 50 states. And it'll tell you, and you can set your parameters, how many acres you're looking for, and it'll let you know in the description what the land is zoned for, if you're able to build on it, if it has water running to it. So landwatch.com.
That's a great site, Donna. Yeah, I have to write it down again. I saw that and I totally ignored it, so I'm writing it down again. I'm glad I came.
Logical Thinker wants to know. She says, Walter, I went to your site. Looks nice. Did you make your website through Shopify?
Yes, Shopify and Fiverr. And I found some Indians in Indonesia. They charged me $6. I'm actually redoing the website, but yeah, I had somebody with Fiverr and then Shopify put it together. So it doesn't take, it takes some getting used to, but that's what midnight 2 a.m. is for if you have a job. What did she say? Financial security is my number 3 requirement for my man, my hubby. My number 1 is my man he must love the creator. Second is da-da-da-da-da. I would change that. If I was a woman, I'd say my man needs to be number 3. Number 1, because it's easy to love your family when your financial household is in order. Because let me tell you, some of the worst arguments my parents had was over money. And you would not think they loved any of us the way they were talking to each other. So I would say, because let's keep it real. You love somebody for how long? I meet this girl. She's cute. I don't care how cute she is. Sooner or later, I'm going to get tired of that cracker. So if we got some stuff together, it's going to make, I'm telling you, I talk to people that have been married 50 years and they go, yeah, we have something in common. So I would say, make sure he doesn't have to be rich or stable, but just make sure he's putting in the effort. And ladies, you can help your man.
I'm going to add on to that and I'm going to answer that question. A lot of cultures, they do arranged marriages. And marriage is, in essence, a business arrangement. And, I know it's big in Indian culture. They match you up with someone financially. Your family is this, your family does that, you have this, you have that. You come together, okay, two of you get married in a week or two or whatever. And love is not in the equation. All those things that we kind of fawn over, it's not part of the equation. Actually, I have a friend of mine, she was from Vietnam. She's older than me. And she told me she was a part of arranged marriage, and then they fled Vietnam and came to the US. And she said, I hated my husband for the first 15 years of our marriage. I hated him. I hated him. I hated his gut. She's like, every day I would wake up and say, I hope he dies.
Damn.
Straight up. But her husband made a promise to her father that he would always take care of her. So as shitty as she was to him, he held to that promise. And she said what changed the tide for them was she broke her leg. And he had to bathe her. He had to take her to the doctor. He had to really take care of her. And she had a job and she didn't know how to drive. So he would pick her up, take her to work, go to work, pick her up. And she said that unconditional love that he showed her changed the tide. So I say all of that to say, when you're looking for someone, if I could go back to my younger self, that's what I would focus on. Is this a good business arrangement? Because all these attractive men caused me a lot of headache. It wasn't worth it. I would have done better with the business arrangement. Now that we've gotten that out the way, tiny homes, a low-cost alternative. My middle daughter, she is in Arizona. She actually has been doing this for over 10 years. She actually goes to Home Depot and she buys sheds and she fabs them and she makes tiny homes out of them. And you can get a shed from Home Depot for less than $10,000, gutted out insulation. You can have toilet systems that are incinerators, so you don't have to worry about plumbing that and stuff like that. And that could be a low-cost alternative to put something on your land. That's why I say if you're buying land, find out if they'll actually allow you to put a physical structure on the land that you're purchasing. Because if they're not, that's a waste of money. Another option, and I would suggest this for our West Coast residents here, is containers, shipping containers.
Oh, I've seen those.
And the reason why I say West Coast, the best time to buy shipping containers is usually November through the end of the year, because China is sending all the Christmas merchandise to the West Coast. So you have an opportunity to pick up shipping containers at a deep, deep discount.
Nice.
And fabricate them and make a structure that way. You go on YouTube, there are people out there that are outfitting shipping containers, making RVs out of school buses that have never done it before, and they're selling the schematics on how to do that through Etsy. If you want to be a little adventurous, that's a route to go to as well, and it will save you a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's so many ways. I was at an auto auction in this old 40 Counterline van, the big white vans that you don't want pulled up in front of your kids' school. And it was $1,800. And what I said to myself? Somebody could live in that. And I walked around, I was like, you can put a little small bed over here. Some of those, remember the old vans, the Counterlines used to have sinks in them, refrigerators, all that stuff in them. Man, some of those, my uncle had a van. I believe it had a bed in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it did.
That's how we got to California. So there's so many ways, and people are saying, I don't care what people think about me anymore. I am going to be comfortable. And it's not it ain't like it's just the poor people that's doing this. You guys, there's some well-to-do middle-class people that are taking this van life on.
Yep.
And an RV and saying, hey, where do we live today? We're going to drive for a few hours. There's a little restaurant over there. We can plug up to the water. They got outdoor showers. We got a shower in our RV. We just plug up to water. And there's freedom in that. And a lot of people are selling their homes and doing that. And with me, I just think it would just be cool to live on the boats. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing this all for, anyways? At the end of the day, what do you wish you would have done more of?
Mhm.
Spend time with your friends, your family. You know what I'm saying? Rub a little more coconut on the one you love. So why not focus on that stuff right now? Y'all gotta stop tripping on the coconut oil. Anyways, I'm
Uh,
just saying.
and let me address this. And Rosalind, she wants to know where she can send her resume to y'all. I guess for a potential employment opportunity. So we'll put that up in there in just a minute. And Prince of Paraphernalia, aka POP. How you doing? I will check my email. You say my wife was a godsend. I thought she would leave me after my stroke, but she loved me even more. Then I lost her this July 3rd, and I'm trying to stay strong for the kids and grandkids. Now, first of all, I want to say my condolences. I don't know, wasn't your wife in the comment section not too long ago as well? If I'm not mistaken. I'm so sorry about that. That's crazy. And my condolences.
My condolences. Yeah.
Yeah. That I know that is very hard to stay strong for. My goodness, I hate to hear that. Wow. And then so as far as the resume, are y'all receiving resumes? And Michelle, thank you so much, and thank you for being here.
I'm gonna put my email address in the comment section. I think. I don't know. I gotta ask because I'm no longer in charge. I had a good friend of mine say, I don't want to be at the top. I just want to be near the top.
Norris, how you doing? He says, don't have any pay apps, but I have to figure out how to support you, not just talk. Have to figure out these pay apps. I will be 72, No, I get it. For people, hell, I'm 52, and some of these apps, my daughter's like, come on, you got to get with it. You can't just keep going to Google, get the app. And I'm like, I don't want all that storage, space taken up on my phone for all the apps. So no, I totally get it. Anything that y'all do, I love and appreciate it. Whether you donate, you like, you subscribe, you comment, whatever it is, I appreciate it. So thank you so much, Norris, for just being here. And let's see. And Honeydew, how you doing? He says, I grew up in an Eco Line. That's a van.
That's the Ford Eco Line. We had a green one.
Yep. But people, those vans they're hot commodity. People get them and they flip them in and out and be on the road again.
There was a lady here in LA that did a YouTube video. That's what I'm saying. If you're determined, you could do pretty much anything. And she was homeless. He got that eco van for $1,500, and she slowly tricked it out. She created the gray and white water wells underneath. She insulated it. She created a bed, a cooking area. So that's the direction a lot of people are going. Because if you go into Giant RV, I don't know what RV places out by you, they want $300,000 for an RV rig. And I'm like, you could get like real estate for that price. I don't know.
Prince, I thought she was. I was like, I know she was just in the chat. So again, I'm sorry for your loss. I know that is not easy, but yeah, my heart goes out to you most definitely. In fact, it's not feelings. You say it's very hard to find hard to find a woman these days that will stick by you when you're sick. It ain't hard, y'all. I'm telling y'all, it's you just gotta ask the right questions. And I know sometimes people flip the script on you, but finding a woman that'll stick with you through thick and thin is not really that hard. There's a lot of women out there who will.
Or try not to get sick.
Well, that's easy.
I mean, listen, here we go with the no compassion thing again. But like, seriously, Matt, we all age, right? We all age and get older. But what if you did certain things to help your aging? You know, the way we eat, we know we're killing ourselves. You know, sometimes I want a burger, but I end up eating. Last night, I had a tomato, blueberries, olive oil, sea salt, and an avocado. And that's what I've eaten the last 2 days. Matter of fact, you see me eating right now. I just tore a tomato up with some olive oil, and that's my dinner tonight. So I don't do that all the time, but I don't want to be 70 years old and like, hey, baby, can you get me out the tub?
Yeah, that's a lot right there. Especially if you had an option to eat a tomato or a donut and you just kept choosing the donut. I mean, I get it,
You know what? At 70, I want to be, hey, baby, can you grab the coconut oil? I don't want to be in the tub a hostage. I can't get out. I've slipped in the tub and I can't get out.
That's what's gonna happen to you. You're gonna slip on some coconut oil in the damn tub. You keep on.
I don't go near the tub. I don't do ceramic and oil at the same time.
Oh my God. Yeah, no doubt. I know the Prince, nobody's saying you chose to have a stroke. Yeah, and one thing I want to say, y'all, please don't take any of these conversations personally. And that reminds me of another book I want to tell y'all about. Actually, I got this book from Walter for Christmas, along with all of my family members. The book must have been on clearance or something, because we all got a book signed by Walter called The Four Agreements.
Don Miguel Ruiz.
Yes, Don Miguel Ruiz. I've read it a few times, and I've given plenty of copies out myself. And the one chapter that I, even to this day, I have to remind myself is, don't take it
anything personal. Yep.
Don't take it personal. And I'm saying that because I know a lot of times when we take stuff personal, it just derails our whole life, right? Oh, why would they say that to me? Why would they do that to me? And it's a lot of times when people do or say stuff to you, it has very little to do with you. It's all about them. So
it don't have nothing. Most of the time, it don't have nothing to do with you. I know I tell people, being diagnosed with prostate cancer is the best thing that's ever happened to me health-wise, because it woke me up. Because I was eating steaks and just acting a fool in the kitchen. I would go out. I would drink alcohol and like crazy. I wouldn't care what type of alcohol. I was just out there. I wasn't like managing my food order and the way that I eat my food. I was just out there acting a fool, and then I was stressed out, because when you stress causes sugar to increase in your blood, sugar in your blood. And that is the number one thing that disease feeds on, is sugar. So I'm speaking from experience. You come to my house, I got turmeric stains and garlic everywhere, based on, fighting a health condition. So I'm speaking from experience. Don't take it personal.
He has another book, and it's The Fifth Agreement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw that one. I just keep meaning to get it, but I'm gonna get it.
The Fifth Agreement: be skeptical, but learn to listen.
Yeah, and normally, Damon, when I do tomatoes, I take the seeds out and I take the skin off.
Yeah,
and most of the time I will cook them, because seeds and the skin actually do crazy stuff to your body. Mm-hmm. So there's some good points in that, and foods, a lot of foods have negative reactions. Like I hear a lot of people say don't eat kale, but I hear a lot of people say you should eat kale. I've heard people say garlic was used to kill people, but I eat garlic almost every day. Smash it, wait for 15 minutes for the allicin to kick in, and you ingest it. I put it on almost everything I eat. And if it wasn't for cancer, I'd still be 200 pounds.
And that's what I was going to say too. So Walter is fighting cancer. He just doesn't talk about it a lot. He's choosing to do it himself, because the options that they gave him were, he was going to have very adverse side effects from one or the other, radiation or surgery. And he's like, no, I'm going to, do it myself with just studying, researching, and, doing it through diet. But the Prince, I have listened to the Turner Diaries on YouTube, and it's a trip. I agree with you. I think everybody should listen to the Turner Diaries. It's basically a white supremacist. I don't know if it's still on there. A white supremacist book, if you will. It's a fictional story, but there's some really insidious things weaved in there as far as how they see other people. But very, very interesting. I was going to order the book, but I was like, I ain't going to spend no money on a book. I don't want to support them like that. So I listened to it on YouTube, and it's a trip to listen to. Hello, Dwight. How are you doing? But yeah, so now we never want to take anything personal. And I see a lot of y'all talking about that. I mean, it just we can't, because then it hinders our growth, and it keeps us trapped in our emotions when we try to figure out why somebody did and said something to us. And I'm talking about even when people do horrible things to you, right? We like, what did I do, or what? Why did they do that to me? And it's like, because they're a horrible person. In the end, it had nothing to do with you. Okay.
But and with that being said, is there any truth to that? And I'll just tell you, my ex-girlfriend, Donnie, you met my ex-girlfriend, you know her well.
Mhm.
She used to walk up to me and poke my stomach and make the Pillsbury Doughboy sound. And I was like, bitch, are you crazy? Man, I wanted to, man, I tell I was turning the, what's his name? A chokehold. But you know what? I said to myself, is she right? Is there anything about what she said is true? And I said, you know what? I need to do something about that. My stomach is too big. I'm having trouble tying my shoes without holding my breath.
It was getting out there.
Huh?
It was getting out there.
But now I'm 160, it's all flat, baby. And I give her credit. Matter of fact, we seen that sent her a shirt with me half naked. It was like, pow! How you like me now?
Is she still alive, or did she pass out? I don't know. We need to check on her.
I could grab the coconut oil. I don't know. I'm just making the point. Sometimes you can learn from people that criticize you, even if their intentions, you don't know their full intentions. Sometimes you just have to take the message and cut the messenger out.
Yeah, end of story. So anyway, we gonna get on out of here, because I know Walter and Donna got stuff to do. Time is money, and money is time. I happen to be 2 hours ahead of y'all, so I didn't burn the candle at both ends today, and I'm gonna lay it on down. So I can get up at 3:30 in the morning, because ever since I got back from Japan, I can't sleep late. I'll go and I have to take magnesium. I don't know if y'all know anything about that. Take magnesium for a whole host of things, and it's helping me with sleep and stuff like that. And it seems to knock me out. And I'm asleep for quite a few hours, and then 3:30 comes, and I'm like, wow, I'm wide awake. I don't always get out of bed at 3:30. But yeah, that I'm going through a lot right now. My whole little, what do you call it? Circadian
Rhythm.
Circadian rhythm, yeah, or whatever it is. It's still trying to get back to where it was before I went to Japan. I never thought I would go through that at all, but I am. So anyway, let's see. Tracy says Walter show us Mr. Clump picture. Yeah, he wasn't like, well, Walter. He had some weight on him. He's a lot smaller than he is now. One of the last times I saw him, I said, "Man, where is your booty at? Just straight gone." That's how much weight he's lost.
I mean, I went from 201 to 154, so almost 45 pounds. And I tell you, I have gained some of it back. I'm still 160, 163, for whatever. But you know what? And this is going to sound really shitty and elitist. I enjoy. I shouldn't even say this, but it's just a part of me I need to work on.
Think 5 times before you speak.
Because I say it all the time. I know what it takes to say no to food, to junk, to sugar. Like, my girl comes over, she goes to work, and she wants to make coffee. And I was like, yo, what's up with the sugar? That's going to break your fast and break the fat burn. And like, you put sugar in coffee, we ain't going to be together much longer. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be the number 10 up in here. So I just know what it takes. I know what it takes to do that. It sucks to go out with your friends and they're just cheese omelets balling out, and you like, do you have avocado lettuce wrap? That sucks. I hate it. But I don't want to look like some of these dudes I see walking around with their stomach out to here. They turn around and open up both double doors. I don't want to be that dude.
Tracy says I can't believe Walter was thick. Yeah, he wasn't like real big, because Walter's not a big guy ordinarily. But yeah, he had on quite a few lbs, and let me shut up too, because I had some on me too, and I'm still working on it. Tracy says, have you tried pure raw honey? It helps to relax. I haven't tried that because I'm like Walter. I'm doing a lot of research about sugar, and it is the devil. A lot of times, too, what I'm learning, because I also suffer from high blood pressure, we've been told that it's salt. It's salt, it's salt, it's salt, it's salt, but it's actually sugar.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually sugar.
Is the worst. The honey and sugar is actually almost worse because it's a fructose. If you do the research on sugar, the whole honey thing, that is marketing. Because when you take, you have to just understand sugar, fructose. Do the research. Listen, cut sugar out when you can. If you're gonna do sugar, do it last. Like I'll do sugar at the end of a meal. I do vinegar every day, all day. I do fiber, proteins, fats, and then if I'm gonna do starch or sugar, I do it last. Like I'll eat an avocado with olive oil after vinegar almost every day, because when you eat fiber, like an avocado, it coats your system. So when the food hits, it doesn't spike your blood sugar. And when you spike your blood sugar, insulin shows up to move the sugar to your fat cells. And that's how you end up overweight. So when you don't spike your insulin, you don't gain weight. And there's a good book, The Glucose Revolution. That book changed my life. I eat more today than I have ever eaten. I just sat here and tore up a tomato and drunk like a half a bottle of olive oil and like sea salt. I got like hot sauce is going down over here. But I won't gain any weight. And my energy is through the roof because of my food order and the nature of the food. And you guys can all do that. And it's actually cheaper because you're not eating all that junk and then you have more energy. Just try it. Get The Glucose Revolution. Her name is Jessie. It will change your life. I swear to you.
And I'm reading The Salt Fix, and that's by Dr. James Nicolantonio. It's called The Salt Fix, and in that book, he's teaching how we think it's salt that's causing a lot of these ailments, but it is actually sugar. So I'm just trying to educate myself as well.
Kill the sugar.
I want to be here long too, but yeah, sugar just wreaks havoc on you. Really quick. And Zarai, how you doing? Says drinking olive oil. Yeah, a lot of people like to drizzle it on the food. You're not really supposed to cook it. It's a finishing oil more than anything.
I drink it. I'll go to this bottle in like 3 or 4 days. When I was in Italy, I noticed they drink olive oil. And like if you go to the blue zones like Sardinia, even Loma Linda, some of these blue zone areas, they drink they put olive oil on everything.
Mediterranean diet.
Oh yeah, they pour olive oil, man. You'd almost think it's coconut oil.
The fat in it also helps to make you feel satiated, so that's why they do it too. So
I love this olive oil. It ain't coconut oil, but I love some olive oil.
in closing, I was having this conversation with somebody because they're a sugar ant. Y'all know what a sugar ant is? Somebody who just sugar on everything. It just ain't sweet enough. They're gonna put some more sugar on it. And I said, listen, I'm learning about sugar too. I said, would you go out to your car right now and pour a soda in the gas tank? And he says, no. I said, well, why would you pour it in your body? He says, oh, wow. I said, because if you would pour it in your body, but you wouldn't pour it in your gas tank, you're saying you care more about your car than you do your body. Mm-hmm. I said, would you pour sugar in your gas tank? He said, no, it's going to mess up the car. And I'm like, you don't think it's going to mess up your body too? You know what I mean? So we really got to start thinking about food in those terms. And listen, nobody loves food more than I do. My daughter would tell you I am greedy. I just am. The D in my name is for greedy. Okay, I am greedy, but I know I can't eat. Like I stopped eating meat, and I love meat, but I know meat don't look good on me after a while. It just does not. Now, will I have some every once in a while? I haven't had none yet. I might, eventually. But right now, I just got to. So the point that I'm making is we got to really, like Walter said, get clear about food and what it's doing to us, especially now at the age of 52. I try to be a little bit more intentional about what I eat. Like, okay, is what I'm going to eat right now, is it going to harm me or is it going to help me? I'm at the point in my life, and we all are, no matter how old you are, that you got to start eating foods that's going to help you. Because, when you get older, it's hard to really kind of just bounce back and say, okay, now that I done burnt the candles at both ends my whole life, I'm going to try to, get it together, because you have these habits that are ingrained, and it's a lot harder. But you know, we got to really at this point just be intentional about everything that we do. And so that's for me. I'm on a mission. And before I had lost, and Walter, you know, will tell you, I got down to like 140 pounds, which is tiny for me because I'm meant to have a little bit of meat on my bones. But I exercise 3 times a day. Sometimes I'll do up to like 40,000 steps a day, you know, just miles and miles. And just, I was just in there. But that's unrealistic because you can't sustain that. But I'm having more success with just watching the food that I'm eating and, you know, exercising moderately. Something I know I'm gonna be able to do for the rest of my life. So it's just about learning what works for you. But sugar, yeah. Kimmy, you said you turned 50 this past Monday. Well, happy 50th birthday to you. That is a milestone. I hope you had a great time and you're gonna do something fun or you did something fun. But happy birthday to you.
Yeah, happy birthday. And you guys, the sugar, if you go to the obesity chart from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, like in the 70s, they went to this whole fat-free thing and they threw sugar in the mix. And then that's when everyone started getting heavy, was when they got rid of fat-free. And then, what they did is they just hit it with sugar. That fat doesn't make you fat. Sugar makes you fat.
And if doing the research, and Walter, I know you can back me up on this, they didn't start using high fructose corn syrup until like the early 80s because sugar, they call it white gold, was expensive. And so the United States government was like, okay, well, we have this high fructose corn syrup and we could just substitute, you know, regular sugar, which is expensive, and just use that. And they put that in everything. Like you look at the back of a tomato can, it's like, what the hell y'all got high fructose corn syrup in here for?
It also has a very addictive nature to it.
Oh yeah.
So that, you know, that when someone says they can't give up their soda or anything else, it's because they're addicted, not so much to the product, but to the high fructose corn syrup that's in it.
Oh yeah, so it's all by design, but you know, we'll have these conversations a little bit more. But again, I'm gonna get up out of here because we're gonna keep talking if we don't. But yes, Damon, the bioengineered food, we really got to be careful. You're welcome, Kimmy. So anyway, you guys, we love and appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your evening, and we will see y'all on Sunday. I might come back here tomorrow because somebody basically suggested that I do an Ask D segment. And somebody gave me a question or whatever. So I might come back and just do that on Thursdays live for about 30 minutes only. We'll see. So if y'all see me pop up on here tomorrow, I've decided to do it. But in the meantime, I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. You guys have a great evening. Peace.
Peace.